good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 170 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I'm your host, Paul English, and we have a great show for you, like always. It is time for big bucks, lots of laughs, and brand new cars as we count down our top 5 favorite game shows of all time. And joining me for this countdown is our crew of regulars that you know and love. It's Colton and Mike. What's going on, boys?
Hey, everyone.
Howdy.
All right. I was going to say I don't want to waste any time, but before we get to this countdown, I'm sure you all heard the sad news yesterday. The legendary director Richard Donner passed away with 91, and what a career he had. I mean, Superman 1 and 2, The Goonies, the Lethal Weapon franchise. I mean, what a legend, a titan of entertainment. He will definitely be missed. Colton, any quick words you want to say about Mr. Donner?
As like everyone said, he made us believe a man could fly. If it wasn't for Richard Donner, superhero movies probably wouldn't be the way they are today. You know, he's the one that really just made us truly embrace them.
Yes, indeed. Mike, what about you?
I mean, going all the way back to The Omen, which I'm not a big fan of horror, but that one was creepy AF. But yeah, I mean, Superman 1, the good portions of Superman 2, and yeah, The Goonies is always going to be one of my all-time favorites. So, Rest in peace, Mr. Donner.
Yes, indeed. He will certainly live forever through his movies, and we are grateful for the great magic he brought us. All right, so let's get on with our countdown. And I understand one of you has an honorable mention you want to bring up. So that was you, Mike?
Yeah, just a quick honorable mention for Legends of the Hidden Temple.
All right. Okay, so let's get this started. Colton, I'll come to you first. What's number 5 on your list?
Number 5 on my list is Jeopardy. I mean, what can be said about this show? It's got we recently lost its wonderful host, Alex Trebek, and he brought a whole lot. Just a lot of the shows on my list are carried by the host, and he's definitely at the top of hosts that were really able to just bring the magic to the show every time, and it's gonna feel weird when they finally get a permanent host. But yeah, I just love the kind of just easygoing nature of the show. It's a very relaxing watch, unless someone misses an easy question. But beyond that, though, I just enjoy watching it and I enjoy playing along. It's one of the few game shows where I can one of the few trivia game shows where I can sometimes actually get the questions right and whatnot. That always feels nice. So, yeah, number 5 on my list is Jeopardy.
I think so. I have a gut instinct that that's going to end up somewhere on all our lists, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Mike, what's number 5 on your list?
Number 5 on my list is Press Your Luck. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. I watched this one when I was a kid. I genuinely don't remember much about the game itself, but those whammies are always going to stick out of my mind because they were just so weird and funny and bizarre.
Well, I think that was the point of it, but yes, they are definitely enjoyable. I do remember watching a couple of the retro game myself, and I've seen some clips of the new one with Elizabeth Banks. She seems to be doing fairly well with it. All right, so number 5 on my list is, come on down, it's The Price is Right. And what can you say about it? I mean, Bob Barker, man, Drew Carey's done an amazing job, but Bob Barker made that show, and just all the different games that you could come of it. My favorite was always the mountain climber games, just because I love that yodeling music. But I mean, Plinko and the showcase. I mean, it is a legend. I remember Mom telling me that she used to pretend that she used to fake getting sick so she could stay home to watch it, and I wouldn't be surprised if I tried to do that once or twice just so I could watch Price is Right with her. So yeah, it was always a great time, and I watch it every chance I get. So yeah, how can it not be on my list? All right. So number 4, let's get going. Colton, what is on your list? Number 4.
Number 4 on my list. It's a bit of an oldie. This goes back to the 80s. It's a show called Starcade. It's a show that I found out about by the HNTV show channel G4. But this is way before G4, but obviously, that's how I found out about it. And yeah, I was an avid video gamer growing up through about my sophomore year of college before my PS3 died, but that's another story. And I mean, I just love, as a gamer, I love seeing all these games these new arcade games that I never really got a chance to experience when arcades were still a thing and whatnot. It was always fun to watch the players just go at it, and sometimes they were pretty poor, but in the episodes where the gamers were excellent, it was always made for very exciting moments, like this one guy who managed to win the grand prize on Miss Pac-Man at literally the last second. Like if he had been like a half second too late, he would have lost, but he managed to pull it off, and that was really exciting to see. So yeah, Starcade, Gamers United, that's number 4 on my list.
Question: do you have Paramount Plus at all?
No, I don't. Why is it there?
No, but if you enjoyed that, I think there's another game show on that I think you'll really love called Nick Arcade, which is a similar concept. And it aired in like the early 90s, but it's on Paramount Plus. So if you're willing to subscribe to it, you can get that along with a lot of other classic Nick game shows.
Yeah, that would have been on if this was like a top 10 or something, Nick Arcade would have been on my list. But you'll stay tuned, because there might be a certain Nick show on this list.
I have another gut feeling we'll all have at least one Nick game show on our list, but we'll see. Mike, number 4 on your list is?
Number 4 on my list is The Price is Right. I mean, yeah, pretty much everything that Paul said there. It was just. I remember every time I was sick and I'd stay home from school, I would flick it on and watch it. Yeah, I mean, the games are always fun, and the showcase showdowns were always just how they came up with those numbers that they did. I would never know.
A lot of research goes into it. They must study a whole lot, I guess. Okay, so number 4 on my list is a true classic. That's Double Dare. And how can you not? It's literally every kid's dream of winning cash and getting dirty. What kid doesn't love getting dirty? Some of the physical challenges they would come up with were hilarious, and it was always so entertaining and fast-paced. And then, I mean, obviously, Mark Summers, one might say the greatest game show host of all time, considering all the stuff that he got into while being OCD. Let's not forget that, and he had to go through that. Give that man a medal. But I mean, yeah, Double Dare, absolute blast. And I grew up with like Family Double Dare and Double Dare 2000, so I didn't get to see a whole lot of the original. But I can now due to Paramount Plus. And fun fact, I did not realize it, the original run of it, not Super Sloppy, not Family, but the original Double Dare was like almost 250 episodes. That's insane to me. So I got a long way to go. But yeah, number 4 is Double Dare on my list. Okay, Colton, we're up to number 3. What is yours?
Quick fun fact though about Double Dare, I was reading some trivia about it, and in one episode on the very first obstacle, the flag was not there. the player kept trying to find it in like this giant pillowcase, only for them to realize after time ran out that they never put the flag in, so they had to start all over again. But they still forgot to put the flag in. And on the 3rd take of the episode, the cameraman fell down, causing them to have to start all over again. they finally got it right on the 4th take.
At that point, like, seriously, give the kids the fucking grand prize. I mean, you screwed them over enough times already. Just give it to them, bastards.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, number 3 on my list is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Family Feud. Put your hands together for Steve Harvey. What can I say about Family Feud? That is a show that, the Steve Harvey iteration anyway, that's a show that never fails to crack me up, but I mean never. They are always putting in such ridiculous questions that are always guaranteed to get stupid responses and whatnot. What's even great is when these stupid responses are sometimes actually part of the survey. And Steve's, the way he just looks at the camera like he's dying inside, and like he's like thinking, who the hell are these people on the survey? It's like, yeah, and I'll never forget. Probably one of my favorite episodes is when he says, "What's another way to say mother or something like that?" And the woman was like, "Mommy, Nana,
Mommy,
Nana." And the audience starts clapping, and Steve like just dead straight says, "Stop clapping."
There's an extended cut of it on YouTube, and he's just after the fourth try, he's just coughing up a storm. He's like, he's lost his mind completely. It's hilarious.
I don't think I've ever seen a host just have. I don't think I've ever seen a host just straight up have no chill with the contestants before, but that's just that's part of the fun. So, and number 3 on my list is Family Feud.
It always works to give me a laugh whenever I'm feeling down. Just look up a YouTube clip of Family Feud, and I'm feeling better after it. All right, Mike, what's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list is Hollywood Squares.
I'm familiar with that one.
Mainly going with the iteration with Whoopi Goldberg as Center Square and who was the host?
Tom Bergeron.
Tom Bergeron, that was it. Yes, he was the host, and it was just, the contestants were just so much fun. Well, not the contestants, the squares were always so much fun.
Celebrities.
And even going back to some of the older ones with Paul Lynde, he was absolutely hilarious. Why do bikers wear leather? Because chiffon chafes. But yeah, just hilarious all the way around. I know they've rebooted it since after that, but I haven't watched the newer versions. But I grew up watching the Whoopi Goldberg version. I watch it daily.
There is a very legendary episode that is, it's split up in 2 parts, but you can find its entirety on YouTube with Gilbert Gottfried on here, and he keeps giving the wrong answer, and the contestants agree with it. He just shouted, "Fool!" And it goes like 5-6 times, and oh my God, he just gets louder every time he says it, and it's just hilarious. Even Tom Bergeron cannot stop laughing. So, Colton, I've seen it on YouTube, and Colton, you should check it out if you haven't seen it. Just look up Hollywood Squares Gilbert Gottfried.
Thank you.
All right, so number 3 on my list is Jeopardy, and a lot of it had to do with Alex Trebek and the dignity and respect he brought of it, but he could also be funny. He could, there's a famous moment. It was during Ken Jennings' winning streak, and the answer was, this long-handled gardening tool can also mean an immoral pleasure seeker. Ken's like, what's a hoe? No. And Alex is freaking out like, oh, I'm sorry, what did you just say? So he could also crack, but I also love watching that show with my dad and always just testing, oh, I can do this, oh, I know this. And every time there'd be like a baseball category, I would always just ace it, and I would love having my dad just be like, how do you know this? Thanks. I know baseball. So it was, and it was very sad when Alex passed, rest in peace, to a true titan of game show entertainment. And I hope I'm pulling for Ken to be the new permanent host. I think he's my favorite choice. Although I need to see what LeVar Burton can do. All right, so let's go number 2. Colton, what do you got?
Number 2 on my list. It's a game show from 2013 on NBC. It is called, hosted by Jane Lynch. It's Hollywood Game Night. It's another show that, again, is carried by the host. She has an endless charisma she has a bottomless chain of energy of charisma that always makes it a treat to watch the show no matter what. And also, I just love all the games that they have. They always have this fun, chaotic energy to them. It's always great to see the contestants like scrambling to try to get the answers out before something goes wrong, like during Clue Boom, or if they don't finish the answer in time, then this giant thing of confetti just pops up right next to them, and they somehow manage to make that give that tension, where you're like, you're just anticipating the explosion, but it doesn't come, and then when it does come, I always kind of jump just a little bit. My favorite parts are always like the ending, though, where they have to do the celebrity name game, and it's always just great whenever the contestants are giving very obvious answers, where the celebrities are giving very obvious answers, but the contestants somehow just don't know it, and I'm just sitting there just saying, "It's this person! How do you not know this?" Yeah, man, Hollywood Game Night is my number 2.
All right, Mike, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Jeopardy. It's a show that is at one time, same time easy, at the same time very, very difficult. They could have easy categories, but they also have categories that if you know the answer, you feel so much smarter than you actually are. The late great Alex Trebek, always be fantastic. I mean, hell, he even showed up on the SNL Celebrity Jeopardy sketch because Will Ferrell was making fun of him. He just showed up and said, "No, this is the final Jeopardy." I mean,
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, he did. So he was not averse to poking fun at himself. And yeah, I'm be interested in seeing who takes over the host. What actually kind of surprised me was the Green Bay Packer.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he surprised me. He was actually surprisingly charismatic, and he there was like one joke where there was one question where the answer was Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and nobody
got it, and he was like, "Really,
guys?"
So but yeah, it'll take a very lot to get over Alex Trebek. So number 2 is Jeopardy.
All right, my number 2 is. Do you have it? Guts. Nick Guts on Nickelodeon. You never saw that, Mike?
Sorry, I honestly, Nickelodeon was never big for me. By the time I actually got cable, I was kind of too old for Nick.
All right, Nickelodeon. If you have Paramount Plus, you should check it out because it's on there. Nick Guts was one of the coolest. Nickelodeon in the 90s had some of the greatest game shows for kids of all time, and near the top was Guts. It was a sports athletics competition, and they would just have these insane athletic competitions from like jumping off a high point and shooting baskets to blocking large amounts of soccer balls to these insane athletic competition. And then at the end was the legendary Aggro Crag, which was just so your little 6-year-old that was such a majestic sight.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so much fun watching these kids go through these athletic competitions. And then, Mike O'Malley, the host, who I learned later was a Beantown boy, which made me love the show even more. He had a great personality and got so invested in it. I mean, yeah, it was my favorite game show as a kid, and I'm glad I can rewatch the old episodes. All right, guys, so we finally reached it. We're on number 1, and I can't speak for everyone else here, but I have to be honest with you. My number 1 pick, I love it so much that I'm not sure I can do it justice in the format that we have. So I'm actually ending the show right now, and we are going to save our number 1 picks for a future episode, which will be an entire interrogation episode dedicated to our number 1 pick. So stay tuned for that. I hope you look forward to it. And
Paul, I suspect that you and I have the same number 1.
We shall see, but we are going to find it. We will have to find out at another time. So that's going to wrap up episode 170. 171 will be the conclusion of it. We reveal our number 1 in interrogation form. I hope you stick around too. I hope you'll tune in for that one. And I want to thank Colton and Mike for joining me on this one. This was fun. Thank you. And I will see you guys at another time for our number 1 picks. I hope you guys will watch that as well. Until then, have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.